Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I have an astrology page on Instagram and I've been posting a lot of astrological information on there. I just started the page not too long ago, so it's still a pretty new page, but I've been very consistent with my posting. I posted a lot of really good stuff on there, but I decided to move my astrology information onto YouTube as well, because YouTube is so awesome in that it offers this incredible opportunity to post really long videos. I mean, I can make this video as long as it needs to be, and I can put as much information into it as I need to, whereas Instagram, you're really limited. You know, you can only post 1 minute long clips, and then you have a limitation for how much text you can add as well. And I have so much knowledge to share with you all. I've been studying astrology for 18 years. Started when I was 15 years old. I'm 33 years old today. And I'm a wealth of information that I want to share. It's something that I'm super passionate about. I started this YouTube channel years ago, and everyone would tell me to post videos on what they know me for, what I'm known most for in my circle, and that's astrology. And I'm finally getting with the program. Alaia McBroom, her birthday is tomorrow. Actually, by the time you guys see this video, it will actually be the day of her birthday. I'm recording this the day before. And she's a really famous YouTuber. She's an adorable, cute little baby, the cutest, most precious. Oh my goodness, you guys, if you're not familiar, look her up because you're just gonna melt from cuteness overload. Her family, their channel here on YouTube is called The Ace Family, ACE. They're really popular. I'm sure you've heard of them. But I wanted to post this video reading her astrological chart because her birth time is something that was given to us free as a gift to the astrology community, I like to say, because on her birth vlog, her parents actually vlogged her birth. We were able to hear what time she was born. The nurse said it, and you can hear it on the tape. And then later on, her mother also said it when she was on the phone with her family. And I caught that on the video. So, and I think they posted it also on her Instagram when they posted the information of her birth. So this is awesome because we know for a fact that her birth information is correct and that this is her very, very, very accurate chart, and we're gonna dissect it today piece by piece. We get to dive in. This is the blueprint to her soul, the map to her destiny. There's a lot of really cool information in here. And if you're new to astrology, maybe you just know your sun sign. Maybe you just know that you're a Gemini or a Cancer or a Libra or whatever it is. But there's so much more to you than just your sun sign. Your sun sign is not even the tip of the iceberg. What you see here, like I said, is a birth chart. This is a chart of the exact moment that Alaia McBroom made her debut onto planet Earth, the exact moment that she was born. And this shows the position of all of the planets, the signs that they were all in, and it all tells us something about her life. So I am on the website www.astro.com, not affiliated with them in any way, but it's hands down the best website out there for pulling birth charts for free. They offer all kinds of charts for free. It's really, really cool stuff. And what you'll see here is that we do have Alaia's information. Her birth date was October 17th, 2018 at 2:10 p.m. in Calabasas, California. Now, this information, again, is what I got from her birth vlog. Her parents, we were able to actually watch her being born and hear the exact time that she was born. And what you'll see here in red is that the web style of the chart we're looking at here is the Placidus chart system. And most websites, when you pull up a birth chart, they just kind of default to Placidus. It's not necessarily the most accurate chart system. There's all kinds of different chart systems out there, but the other chart system that I like to use is, just clicked over to that, is the Whole Signs chart system. This one actually predates the Placidus chart system. It's one that, ancient astrologers were using long before they even discovered Placidus, and it's oftentimes just as equally accurate as Placidus. When someone has a chart that changes between Placidus and whole signs, I like to read it for them in both chart systems so that they can kind of decide for themselves where they think that their chart is manifesting. Is it manifesting more in Placidus, or is it manifesting more in whole signs? It's really up to the person to decide, where they think that it's kind of manifesting most. I wanted to show you her chart here in whole signs, and then this is her chart in Placidus. So I'm going to go over some basics. This is not a full astrological reading. This is just a few things that I want to note to you guys and just kind of give you a little teaser of what you would get in a full astrological reading. So what we see here are the houses. You see these sections here? These are what we call the houses in astrology. And these numbers here are what we call the house numbers. So we have house 1, house 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. And each of these houses represent a different area of your life. And these are the symbols for the planets. And the planets represent different factors of your personality and your life as well. The signs here along the edges are the rulers of the house. So, and let me click over actually to the whole signs chart system because it's a little more clear to see under the whole signs chart system. But you'll see here, house 1, for example, is ruled by the sign Capricorn. House 2 is ruled by the sign Aquarius, and so on and so forth. House 1, it will always be ruled by your rising sign. Alaia's rising sign is Capricorn. That's why her house 1 is in Capricorn. And then every house after that goes in order of the sign following your rising sign. So the sign after Capricorn is Aquarius. So every Capricorn rising will always have Capricorn ruling their first house and Aquarius ruling their second house and Pisces ruling their third house, and so on and so forth. That's why the rising sign is extremely important. And this is why it's important, you guys, to have the most accurate birth time, because the birth time helps us to determine these houses, what your rising sign is. Rising signs sometimes can change as quickly as hourly. Whereas a sun sign, on the other hand, the sun stays in the same sign for about 30 days. So we got 12 signs in astrology, 12 months in a year. We go through about one sign per month. But I'm sure you've met plenty of people who have the same sign as you and they're nothing like you. You guys have nothing in common. And the reason for that is because you're so much more than just your sun sign, as I mentioned. When I scroll down here and I zoom in, you'll get to see this section here. So this section here shows us all of the planets on the day that she was born and the signs that they were in. Yes, Alaia was born a Libra. She was born when the sun was in the sign Libra. However, like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As you can see, her moon, the moon was in the sign Aquarius. So Aquarius is a huge part of her personality. This right here, AC, it stands for ascendant, also known as the rising sign, is in Capricorn. That's a huge part of her personality. Her Mercury in Scorpio, her Venus in Scorpio, and so on and so forth. So if I were to pull up the chart for another famous Libra, and for example, I think Will Smith is a Libra. If I were to pull up Will Smith's chart here and compare it to Alaia's, you would see that they look totally different. Every person has their own unique chart. Even if you guys are the same sign, you can have very different personalities and different signs influencing your overall personality and life. Let me zoom back out here and I'm going to show you guys some of the juicy information contained here in her birth chart. Like I said, we're looking at two different chart systems, whole signs and Placidus. So starting with the whole signs chart system. This is the symbol for the planet Jupiter. Jupiter in astrology is the planet of blessings. It is Santa Claus. It's the Monopoly Man. It just wants to rain down all good things. That's the easiest, most simplified way to understand Jupiter, especially when you're new to astrology. Jupiter is positivity, all good things, blessings. Now, it depends on the specifics of your own individual Jupiter and the condition that he falls into your chart. That's not always the case. But for the most part, in the most simplified way, that's what Jupiter stands for in astrology. It's the blessings, abundance, expansion, all good things. And as you can see, her Jupiter is here in her 11th house. The 11th house in astrology is the house most commonly known as a house of friends and friendships. So right there, we would kind of be able to make the educated guess that Alaia is probably going to be someone who is very lucky and blessed with many friends, very good friends. Her friendships will mean a lot to her. She'll definitely feel like she's blessed with great friends, right? But the 11th house is so much more than just friendships. It also kind of represents your popularity factor, because the 11th house is closely linked to fame. It's closely linked to popularity online, on social media, for example, because it has connections to things like the internet and innovation and technology and things of that sort. And in order to become famous, you need to be able to reach large masses of people. I mean, millions of people. You're not going to be famous if you only know 100 people. You know, if only 100 people know of you, right? You need to be famous when millions of people know of you. When someone says your name and people know who you are. If you say Beyonce, everyone knows who Beyonce is. And so that is why the 11th house is often connected to fame, because it rules large masses of people. And when you have an 11th house that is activated in this way, you're going to be someone who gets to somehow reach out to large masses of people, aka millions of people, is one way that it can manifest, which clearly that's how it has manifested for Alaia. I mean, she's just a baby. She's just turned 1 year old, and from her birth, from the moment she was born, she was in millions of people's homes, because her birth vlog, if you look it up on her family's channel, has millions of views. So that is very well represented in her chart, and it's something that she's going to carry with her throughout her life. She's going to be able to maintain this sort of popularity her entire life. You know, if she wants to grow up and pursue stardom, it is hers for the taking. Her chart definitely supports that. She's probably always going to be pretty popular, have really great friends, a lot of friends, and, you know, if she wants to be popular on social media, have her own channel, it's something that her chart very much supports that. Her Venus is also here. Her Mercury is also here. And that's just all kind of reinforcing that. Because Mercury is your mind, it's your brain, it's how you think, it's how you communicate, it's how you write. And so it shows the mind really wrapped up around the friends and the social groups. Maybe even humanitarian causes. The 11th house rules humanitarian causes as well. Her sun here is in her 10th house. So the 10th and the 11th house are two houses most closely associated with fame. The 10th house is probably the one that's most commonly referred to as a house associated with fame. Not as many people are aware that the 11th is also so closely connected with it, so that's why I wanted to start with that. But the 10th house is often very much connected with it because it's known as the house of public image. So it is your public persona, your reputation, and also your career. Her sun is here, and the sun is, you know, just like in real life, all of the planets revolve around the sun in our solar system, and in astrology as well. The sun represents a key point of our life. You know, it's our soul, it's our essence, it's who you are deepest in your soul. And it represents an area of your life where you're going to focus a lot. And, you know, her sun is right here in her 10th house of the career, of the reputation, of the public image. It's almost like putting her on a stage. That's a major part of her life. It was like that from the moment she was born, and it'll probably be like that forever. Now, it's interesting though, because she's a Capricorn rising. So whereas her sun is in Libra, right? And Libra is a very sociable sign. It's kind of like a social butterfly. Capricorn is a lot more reserved. Capricorn is not as outgoing as Libra. Capricorn is more reserved and more serious and more hardworking. And that's what's ruling her first house here, which is the house of her personality and, you know, her outer personality and her physical appearance and things of that nature. So with a Capricorn rising, she's going to be someone that carries herself in a more serious manner. She is probably going to be extremely ambitious. Capricorn is the most ambitious sign probably in the zodiac, very strategic. And with that sun in the 10th house, which cares so much about career, and this Saturn here, you notice Saturn is in her first house of her personality. Saturn in astrology is a very serious planet. Very reserved, very hardworking, very strategic. Her Saturn is healthy because it is in his own natural sign of Capricorn. It's called a Saturn's domicile sign. And so Saturn likes being in Capricorn. He's a happy Saturn in Capricorn. And being in her first house, it's going to give her a personality that's very serious, very hardworking, very ambitious. She's probably going to care about success, and it's probably, you know, her chart supports that she'd be able to attain it for sure. Now, it's interesting to say because this right here is her 5th house. And the 5th house is the house of working from home. It's the house of creativity, fun, good times, parties, recreation, gambling, and also your children. So she has her part of fortune here. You notice this little circle here with the plus sign in it? That's called the part of fortune in astrology. And the part of fortune, just like its name, pretty self-explanatory, it stands for a part in your chart that you're going to be quite fortunate in, and you'll have, you know, lucky things come about every now and then throughout your life regarding those areas. So with a part of fortune in the 5th house, we can make a very good educated assumption that she's going to be lucky with things like working from home, having the opportunity to do so, creativity, being able to express herself. What's more creative than being a part of a YouTube family? You know, as a YouTube family, you guys are always creating. You're always coming up with new ideas and new creations and getting to be super creative. So to me, that supports that the family will most likely continue to be very successful online. You know, her life started that way, and it's probably going to continue that way for a really long time. It's going to be something that stays with her. And it also shows that she's probably going to be really lucky in having children. It's interesting because the 11th house, even though it's most known for being the house of friendships and large groups of people and humanitarian causes and things of that nature, it's also connected to fertility. So it's also strongly linked to being fertile. And with having her Jupiter there, which is such a fortunate planet, we talked about it being the planet of abundance, it says really good things about her fertility. And then her part of fortune here in the 5th house, which also rules your children, also says she's probably going to have children, maybe even many children, and she's going to be quite blessed. Her children are going to be a really big blessing. Austin and Catherine, her parents, you guys are in for some grandbabies. Alaia's going to make sure of that for you with this chart, and it's going to be something really positive. Uranus is here, though, in the 5th house as well. And Uranus in the 5th house, well, Uranus in general, it represents abrupt, sudden, unexpected changes. That's what it can often represent in a chart. And with the Uranus in the 5th house, it can sometimes show an unexpected pregnancy, for example, you know, a pregnancy that wasn't really planned. So, you know, when she's older and she becomes an adult, she starts having her babies, which she most likely will with a chart like this. She may have an abrupt, unexpected pregnancy, for example, or maybe her children will just have the qualities of Uranus. I'd love to see Austin and Catherine's charts. It's interesting because Austin McBroom thinks he's a Taurus, but I actually went to see if I could find his chart, and he was born on the day that the sun changed signs. So the sun was actually in between signs on the day that he was born. So his birth time is actually crucial because it'll tell us whether he's really a Gemini or a Taurus. Because on the day that he was born, the sun was changing signs between Gemini and Taurus, between Taurus and Gemini. So if he was born earlier in the day, then yes, he really is a Taurus. But if he was born later in the day, late at night, he's actually a Gemini, and he's been thinking he's a Taurus this entire time. So that's really interesting to keep in mind, especially if you're born on the last day of a sign, because you have to think, you know, the sign doesn't just go from one day to the next day. Like it really depends on the time of that last day of that sign when it switches over to the next one, if that makes sense, so to speak. I hope I'm not confusing you guys. But yeah, I think that's all that I want to touch on for right now. Let me see. Is there anything else that's really sticking out to me? No, I think that's all that's sticking out. Well, okay, I'll point something out for you guys. This is her second house, and the second house is the house of many things, like all the houses in astrology, but it's closely linked to money, finances, the money that you're able to make through your own efforts, through your own career. And she has two planets here. She has the moon and Mars. And as we know, she's a millionaire. She's a millionaire baby. Her parents are really successful. And her moon being here in the second house really shows her emotions being linked to that, to the finances somehow. It shows that she feels that emotional security from finances and from being financially stable. It makes her feel good. It makes her feel emotionally secure. And Mars is there as well. Mars shows our energy drive, how we take action. Again, that's adding with that Capricorn rising, more of that drive to be successful and the ambition. And something very interesting also, her seventh house is empty, but it's ruled by the sign Cancer, as you can see here. And just because a house, I should say, is empty doesn't mean that you're doomed in that area of life and that that area of life will never manifest for you. No, that's not what it means by any means. You just have to look to the ruler of that house. So the seventh house is empty, but we see that it's ruled by Cancer. So then we just look to see what the ruler of Cancer is. The ruler of Cancer is always the moon. So we see that the seventh house ruler is in the second house. The seventh house in astrology represents your marriage and your spouse. So what this is telling us is that her marriage and her future spouse is somehow linked to finances. Maybe her spouse will be someone who's wealthy, or maybe she'll help her spouse out financially. Somehow there's a link there somehow. So I think that's all that I want to touch on for this little preview, this little teaser. I hope that you guys found it interesting. You saw some accuracies here. And if you're interested in following me, please do. My astrology Instagram page, again, is at Melissa Stars Astrology. And if you're interested in ordering an astrological reading for yourself or a loved one, I'd be happy to take a look at your chart for you. Just go ahead and message me for a direct quote, and I can give you a quote on, how much I can charge you for a reading. I really, really appreciate you guys watching this video. Please feel free to tag Austin and Catherine so that they can see this and hopefully one day share it with Alaia, or if maybe, Austin be interested in finding out what his actual sign is, that'd be cool too. But I thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. Bye.